Hi, my name is Dan, and I'm a carcaholic.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Welcome to So You Think Your Car is Fast, where we dive into the world of high-end, fast cars and explore what it truly means to have a fast car. From the latest in supercar technology to the mechanics that make these machines go, we'll separate fact from fiction and uncover the misconceptions about speed and power that exist in the minds of the general public. Join us as we put the pedal to the metal and discover what it takes to have a car that truly lives up to the title of fast.
And we're live. We're back. So You Think Your Car is Fast, season 2025, episode 2. What are we going to talk about today, boys?
Well,
I don't know, but we're doing 100% better this year than last year.
That's true. That is true. Wow. It's good to see you. It's been a while since the three of us have been on at the same time. Hey, Dan.
I'm back.
Would you like to reintroduce yourself to the world?
Hi, my name is Dan, and I'm a carcaholic.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Yeah, well, it's crazy here in Texas right now. It's 12 degrees at my house, and that means that your hot water freezes. So I have no hot water, which is fun.
Well, take a shower, ice cold.
Normally, I don't wear hats, but it's cold.
I like this. I like it. I like it. Look good.
If you look really close, I don't know if you can read it. It says Egon and Company, and it has a ghost trap, so it is on point for me.
It's on point with the Ghostbusters. Gotcha. Well, it's February, going on late, which means race season is upon us. And how many of the three are ready? One would be me.
Well, we all actually have cars that run.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You guys are doing okay. So TX2K is coming up next, and it's close to you guys. I will be attending, and I will be attempting to qualify. Last year, the slowest roll race qualified, I think it was 189 for the slowest class.
And how fast were you last year? I don't remember.
Well, no, I wasn't there. I went there, but I wasn't. The car was at AIM, right?
Well, what's the fastest we've ever been there?
Well, at 2K, I've done 187, but it used to be a longer race, 1,600 plus feet. 2K is shorter now.
Yeah, they shortened it, right? What did they shorten it, like 250, 300 feet?
Yeah, I think it's 15 at most, depending on where you start. So 13 to 1,500 or so.
So if that's the case, then last year's 189 is significantly faster than your fastest 187.
100%. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was like at that power level, as I recall, as 90% of numbers are made up on the spot, it was like 3 to 5 miles per hour slower. Is what we were getting out of it. I was in the high 170s or low 180s once, and that was before I had the diff in my car. And the car was just going towards the wall, and I was continuously steering more and more and more away from the wall. And you could see it in the data log because the steering angle was going right, and the foot angle, i.e. throttle, was coming up. But the thing that it didn't data log was the pucker factor. And
is there a sensor in your seat?
There was, because it almost went off, and I had to change my pants. And that was really the last time I ever took that car down the runway. Well, not the runway, the drag strip in Houston, because I was like, that was not fun.
Yeah. Well, they call Ennis the stickiest track in the circuit. So, let's hope it stays that way.
Well, when they prep Ennis, it's really almost second to none. They're not wrong.
Yeah.
And there's a better, longer shutdown area at Ennis. But that was what was bugging me about 2K was, you had this intense race, and when the guys that were going, 220 miles an hour plus, then they had a pretty intense race on who could stop before going off the end, or who could stop and not run into the wall while losing it doing so. And it was great entertainment for the fans, but it was nerve-wracking for, pretty much anybody that knew anybody or anybody that had a car. I don't know. I like the way they have it set up better now.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's in Ennis. It's not going to go anywhere. He added a day. So Tuesday, UTEC, and he's going to require everybody to tech before the weekend. So it's not like you can show up on, the drag racers can show up on Friday. Now they have to show up on Thursday because the roll race is Wednesday for qualifying and then a break. And then Friday is eliminations. So Thursday they drag race. I guess there's some qualifying and some test and tune, tech, blah, blah, blah. And then Saturday and Sunday they finish up the drags. So you've got to be there almost all week now.
Are you going to be there all week?
I'm going to be there Tuesday to tech, and then I'll be ready Wednesday morning, and then watch on Thursday, and then Friday I probably won't qualify. Someone sent me some stats this year, and it looks better than it has been because there's not as many big horsepower as before. So it breaks down for 40 GTRs, 58 V10s, and 51 other. This is the roll race I'm talking about. So we have 40 GTRs, 58 V10s, and then 51 slow cars.
I mean, if you'd asked me, I would have said, it's an arms race, power go up.
Right. So, a lot of sub 1,300 horsepower cars, which of course,
That's what they put down.
Yeah, who knows how much of that is a sandbag, but let's just say you need every bit of 1,500 to 1,600 wheel to qualify at 2K now.
I think part of it is the V10s are changing the game.
Yeah.
A
Yeah,
stock
absolutely.
engine R8 can do 1,400 wheel with a minimal turbo kit, and it's
No
like,
problem. Yeah.
man, well, when my car came out in 2008, 500 wheel was respectable and 1,000 was a lot.
Yeah, it's the same conversation every year, but this time it looks as if there wasn't a massive upgrade in power at 2K. So I'm not saying I have a chance, but I'm not saying I have a chance.
Are you all? Why do I keep losing my train of thought? I'm getting old. Are you all ready to go as far as all the new rules and regulations and safeties and?
Yeah, that's a good question. Car has a belly pan now.
You were able to get that fitted and worked out?
Yeah, and I have water. I have no coolant, so we're running some distilled water. Steve says, just don't let it freeze.
Yeah,
How
it's
about,
freaking cold right now. My hot water's frozen.
Yeah.
can you put like water wetter in it or anything?
I don't think you can.
I mean,
I don't think you can.
Kind of
I think
can-
that is just as slippery.
You can put whatever you want in it.
qualifies
after
it as
tech,
coolant.
technically.
Yeah.
What
not
about
gonna be
the cross bolts to keep a turbine from shooting out the back?
That is not required for roll race.
Oh, it's not?
Yeah, it is not.
Okay.
I think it's required for gentlemanly purposes almost.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor's thrown one out, right?
Yeah.
If we can do it, you can do it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to do the cross bolts just simply because it's not required. And I don't even want to I don't want to do that.
It doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Isn't that a really weird way to down it, Debbie down it? It's like it just doesn't look very good. And
It doesn't look well. Here's the thing: you can't do it at the tip. You have to do it. You have to do it right outside of the turbo, right?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Does it really affect anything that much? I mean,
I can't.
general logic says don't put anything extra in your exhaust, and everybody's like, well, I got a 3.75-inch exhaust, and then you're gonna put bolts through it. Like it just seems,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's good reason for doing it. Obviously, not dying is kind of high on people's lists, but
Oh, how many people have been hit by a wheel that's
A
shot
few.
out the exhaust? Yeah.
Really?
I saw a 13.
Not typically the driver, though. So the driver's in the clear.
Yeah, the driver's fine.
Yeah, driver's usually good. Giddy hit somebody with one of his turbine wheels. It was like one of the 1320 video people, or it like grazed them, or it missed them by 3 inches or something. But I'm sure it's happened.
So, yeah, I'm going to get there on Tuesday. If I have time during the day, I'll tech that afternoon. And then be ready. AIM is going to show up. They're going to be there all week. So I really am just going to use it for a test and tune for the half-mile stuff. Just kind of get used to the car. I have a new clutch that we're putting in. We're moving away from the Tiltons. Great clutch. Tilton was a great clutch. I mean, it was the only thing that was available 10 years ago, right? When the car was built. But now there's other technology out there that is more robust, because we have to shim the Tiltons every other event.
I don't understand that, because my Tilton has been shimmed maybe once in 5 years.
It's all on how you drive it too. I mean, I slip it pretty good off the line.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Todd could be slipping it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it would make that big of a difference, but
It does.
I don't know. What do I know? Well, we had like 3 options, right? There was the quote ERP unquote. I don't know what that exactly was, but it was an RPS clutch made by Rob at RPS, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work right in our cars. Like, some cars they worked okay, some cars they engaged terribly, some cars they just would like lock out and they wouldn't release and couldn't shift, at all at high RPM. So people were like shearing 5th gear apart, because you try to go into 5th and boom, the whole thing just explodes.
Yeah.
Which is never fun. So I did the same thing you did. I bought the Tilton because I was like, well, and nobody ever says they don't work.
Yeah,
Everything
no,
they
it
say
works.
is,
It works
we don't
fine.
want to pay for it.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, the price tag. And I have 2 of them. And we swap, we rotate. But, hopefully this is the one and it lasts. AIM's got a 2,000 horsepower 997 that's been on this clutch for a long time, and they swear by it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard through the grapevine that eventually that design got fixed, or the quality control issues were somewhat BS. Going back to the days of like forums of Ren list and 6-speed online, people were, dogging those things, and you never really know, because how can you know when you're just reading about it on an internet forum versus having parts and messing with it yourself, assuming that you have a guy like Steve messing with it for you.
I'm just sitting here, everything going over my head. I'm thinking, what's a clutch?
Yeah, Mr. PDK. Yeah,
he's Mr. PDKs. He's like, I have 2.
I have 2 clutches. Yeah. So anyway, and then Hondo is like 2 weeks behind it, maybe 3 weeks behind 2K. So gonna head out to Hondo, and I think the competition's a little lighter there because of the track conditions. The big cars aren't gonna really show up in droves there. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And then I'm kicking around the idea. A buddy of mine, Sterling, his name is, he called me up last night and said, hey, I'm south of Austin and I'm going to go to Racemotive in Maple Garden, Pennsylvania. And that's like the 12th. So the week after Hondo. He goes, and I got a 1 space in my trailer. Interested? I'm like, actually,
Now, along those lines, the Racemotive event was the one that we were going to try to do with my car to test it before I bring it home.
Okay. There's 5 Racemotives apparently.
Yeah, but I want to say,
right?
sometime in April was the one we were talking about.
Okay.
It's a great event. They're on like an oval track, right?
Well, Pocono is an oval, right? I don't know what Maple Grove is. I think Maple Garden is a quarter-mile track.
The videos I've seen have always been on the ovals, and I thought that was a great way to do it, because you can just drive, around a track and get paced up.
Yeah. So I'm kicking around that idea. AIM says that they're a title sponsor, so they go. So I'm like, oh shoot. Well, I mean, maybe the stars will align, and I just have Sterling bring my car up there, and I fly up.
Well, maybe. As we get closer, I'll know, but I kind of, 3 months ago I was planning on being there, but I don't know.
So what is Taylor, your 997 close? I mean, have you gotten a kind of an idea? When that'll be finished?
Yes, but I feel like without having it mostly put together, the estimates aren't real anyway. You know what I mean? a couple months. I want to say, I don't know, a month ago, maybe 6-8 weeks ago, I asked Ryan what he thought, and he said that he thought there was still a shot, but I don't know. I haven't try not to bug him. So
He said there was a shot for an April finish.
yeah.
Oh wow.
For
Okay.
when we started this though, that's the thing, and I think there's always delays and timing and traveling and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Because that's like right around the corner.
as far as I know, my motor is not even built yet. So
Okay.
I thinking that I'll make it is, I mean, I don't know. My experience is not that the pieces all go back together exactly how they should the first time. That's
Yeah. Okay.
so that's my update. Not real
That's your
exciting.
update. All right, Dan. So we spoke for you last podcast. I don't know if you heard. So now's your chance to give us an update on where what the update is on your motor.
Yeah, I watched it. I was very jealous that I was gone. But yeah, so I don't know. I messaged Ryan on the 7th and said, "Hi, I would like to have my engine built, please." And the response I got back was, "Don't really remember what it needs. Let me find out," which is not what I was hoping for. But I messaged him again on Monday this week, and I haven't heard anything. So,
When I was up there a month ago, your motor was propping up one of the garage doors.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what's going to happen. I almost responded back to Ryan and told him, but Joe had a plan for it. The basically anything that was in there that I didn't buy and send to John was a used part. And not just used parts, but like parts that you wouldn't even consider using. They were like completely shot.
Oh yeah.
Like the lifters in it looked like they'd been through 14 seasons in a GT3 Cup, and they actually scored up the housing, my cam housings, a little bit, just being turned over by hand.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And so we don't know what cams John actually put in it because he lied about the cams, but we do know where they were ground. So Joe sent off to find cam cards for them, and we were going to decide whether or not we were going to use them. It needs new pistons, rods, sleeves because it had pitted out of round sleeves in it that were supposed to be new. It had beat up pistons in it. It did have brand new rods in it, but I think they're just off the shelf rods. So I was just going to replace all of it with Joe spec stuff. It had a used crank in it. They charged me for a brand new crank. So actually the crank appears to be good. So that was the last thing that I heard.
Okay.
And then need some gear, need like the IMS gear, like the GT3 part, which is different. A few odds and ends. I mean, realistically, the case was actually helicoiled, which is not a great thing to do for the studs. So what they were going to do is AIM was going to send the case to a machine shop and have it time sorted, which is, a slightly different way to do that. And I think that'll actually work. Joe seemed to think it would be fine. Maybe not having inserts in it all would be better, but so be it. It's better than buying another $10,000 set of cases. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to getting it back together again. I've got new turbos for it. I've got a pile of parts here for it. I have a brand new transmission for it that Bill Rader built for me 2 years ago, that I've been just itching to try because it does straight cut gears in it. And it's geared to run over 215 and fifth. So it'll cut a shift out and it'll lengthen out because, like, you know how useful first gear in your car is. First gear in my car is probably less useful because, it only goes to like 35, 40 miles an hour and it's just gone. Like there's with those big turbos, there's no throttle modulation. It's just all or nothing.
Yeah.
And I could never get it to hook in first. So really all I was ever trying to do was get it on a soft rev limiter in first and just carry through it and then hit second and try to go.
Mm-hmm.
0 to 60 times are like 4 seconds, 5 seconds. Also not wanting to break transmission parts really, but.
Have you run? I'm sorry, you may have said. Have you run yet with the new gear setup?
No, no.
So you have a GT2 1 and 2?
I'm not sure exactly what parts they are, to be honest with you. It's been too long. I think the ratios are the same, but I don't think it's actually the GT2 RS 1 and 2. I think it's a custom 1 and 2.
Okay.
Hey, going back a little bit as you're talking about what was found in your motor, did you guys get any flack or attention from our last podcast and the Evo Spec situation? I've had a couple messages that are interesting.
Nobody messaged me, but I wasn't on, so.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I got a handful. And look, I mean, we didn't really set out to do anything on the last podcast, but the messages I got were, "Hey, thanks for, talking about the truth and thanks for bringing it out." And I'm like, "Well, okay, you're welcome, but we're just telling you what happened to us."
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't think it was any revelation. I thought this was known, but like I had a message that asked for my advice on what to do because the guy still has a motor with him. And I was like, you probably just need to go get it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I mean, they're almost done.
You need to go get whatever they have. Because
I was like, I don't, look, I know you want it to be good, but I was like, I don't know if anybody has got a functioning motor in a long time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just don't.
Did someone say that one of his employees is now taking over some of the work?
Oh, that might have been this guy. I don't even remember who it was, and I'm not going to say a name or anything anyway, but yeah, it seems like he said somebody else was building them. But then he sent me pictures, too, from like pictures that he was, quote-unquote, sent. And it's like, I was like, dude, I mean, I don't know, because there's no identifiers in those pictures, right? They're just engines on a stand. I mean, I don't. So he told me he was going to wait and see, and I was like, no, that's fine, but
Well, I know on many occasions, and I've seen it with my own 2 eyes enough to believe that it's true, that you send a engine case over there, there's no guarantee that you get the same engine case back.
Oh, mine wasn't my case. I can't remember if it was Joe or Ryan. They text me. They go, "Hey, this isn't your original block." Or they said, "Do you know a Ricardo?" And I was like, "Oh no, why? Did he call? Does he need a motor?" And he's like, "No, that's whose block you have." And I was like, "Oh, all right." So
that means there's a Ricardo out there
that
wondering where his engine is.
The thing is, though, is right. Like even my engine, it went back 3 times before we had a running car. So I don't know when it got changed, when it was swapped. I don't know. It was so that it's not a total poo-poo fest. My motor was sleeved. It had Carrillo rods in it. It had good pistons. The heads had head work done on them. So I got pretty much what I think I paid for. I actually think I've got some of my parts sold.
So wait a minute. So when they cracked open your motor, it was okay.
It wasn't perfect. There was some kind of marking on the sleeve inside the cylinder wall I can't remember which cylinder it was, and then on that same cylinder you could see on the intake port of the head how it had a lot of oil buildup. So at least in that cylinder I was burning some oil or something, but I mean it was not as bad as yours. Either one of yours. I've said it for a long time. I think my motor's like the last one that he built that was still running.
Yeah.
I find it amazing, but I think mine was actually the worst out of all of them, because when it came back, it had 90% leak down in a cylinder. We didn't even try to start it.
But you did you got a pretty decent life on that first motor.
Yeah, the first one lasted me 5, 6, 7 years, something like that.
That's why it was such an aggravating situation, because it just, I don't know. It just all fizzled out, and it was frustrating. But the thing is my new motor is essentially an entirely new motor because we're not even using the block. We're not using the heads. I mean, so I got a bunch of parts that I'm going to be moving. I think I have my intake manifold sold. You know, I was going to make a table out of my block, but I have somebody that's willing to pay me for the block. So
wow.
I'm kind of rethinking
You
if
should
I
make
even
a table for your new garage mahal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. I
I've
just
got
think
two
about what a
Tiltons
pain it
for
is
sale.
moving a table around that weighs that much.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody know anyone who needs two Tiltons?
Maybe somebody out there.
I'm gonna get them reshimmed and refurbished, so
There you
they
go.
will be brand new.
There you go.
I'll
And
bet
one
there's
of
a
them-
race team out there.
One of them has a flywheel. What was that, Dan?
Oh, I bet there's a race team out there that still uses
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, they're still good for, I guess, any cup car with a 996 GT3, GT2, or a 997 GT2 transmission. I think those are all the same.
I think even a turbo would be fine too, but I don't know
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, who knows?
I was gonna try to sell my entire like the turbo setup, like headers, exhaust, and everything. It's such a small market because it's all 9A1 stuff. And honestly, I don't know. It would probably take a little massaging to even fit a 991 anyway.
Oh.
So it's like everybody out there that's building a 997.2, which I'm constantly reminded was a terrible decision to start with. I don't have much of a market, so I'll probably just be ending up selling my Zona turbos as a pair by themselves.
Yeah.
They don't. My Zonas don't even have an event on them.
Oh, wow.
And
Never.
you're going with the Garretts, the G35s.
Yep, I'm going Garrett.
Yeah, I've
The
had a set of those.
G35 1050s.
I've had a set of those.
Well, I'll be the only one flying the Zona flag, I guess.
No. I'm still rocking the Zonas.
Oh, you are?
The
Okay.
9564s, yeah. But I had the Garretts that didn't work. They were too big. They were physically too large. I had to redo the whole turbo kit. So we just got the Zonas that were a direct swap for the 3586s. Somewhat. So
I don't even remember what my Zonas are. There's some. Is it a 78?
Yeah, you have a 78.
78 64s, but they're in an X4C compressor cover.
Which is good. The bigger the compressor cover, the better. We got so deep into this a couple of years ago. Now I feel like I don't know a thing, but
I just don't know who buys those. I mean, I did obviously, but like I don't know. Maybe some R8s could use them. I don't know.
That thing could make 750 wheel easy on a Honda or DSM. Or
Yeah, but
Evo
I've
or
got two, and it's a
Subaru.
mirrored setup, so I think they do better selling it as a pair. I don't know. If anybody out there wants a smoking deal on some almost new Zonas, shameless plug.
Message.
it's the barter hour. Call in. Tradio. All right, boys, what else we got?
Well,
What
my
else
car
do we
got
got?
stolen.
Yeah, tell us about the Escalade that you watched get stolen on your doorbell.
Well, I was sitting right here in this very chair at about 2 o'clock in the morning, Friday before last, and I heard my car start. I heard my Escalade start in the driveway, and I was like, I know that sound. And then I said, that's my car starting. Why is my car starting? And I mean, it literally took me that long. It took me like 3 seconds of sitting here going, what the hell is going on? So I get up and I run to the front door to see my Escalade backing out of the driveway. And I ran down to the end of the driveway yelling at him.
What were you expecting them to do?
Okay,
Okay, we'll bring it back.
Okay.
organic reaction. I mean, there was no thought. It was just reaction.
You did, what was that, Danny DeVito? So I came out shoot.
Yeah, honestly, it didn't even occur to me to grab a gun. And even if I had, I wouldn't have shot at him.
Sure.
I mean, what am I going to do? Start unloading a handgun or
Into your own
something
car?
bigger at my own car in my own neighborhood with people in it that I can't see,
Uh-huh.
right? Because it's night and the lights are shining at me. Like,
So what is this? What is the method? They had some kind of a. Did they hotwire it? How do they steal them so quickly?
So I guess what they do is they have a radio receiver with a big antenna on it, and they lock in on your key fob,
Okay.
and then they relay it to the car. So it's as though basically, as far as the car can tell, that the key fob is in the car, and then they're gone.
Oh, so they're actually getting the signal from your key fob that's in your house.
Yeah.
At that time.
That's the most common way that it's done.
Wow.
I'm kind of aware of this, given my day job, that kind of thing is possible. I just never really thought that. Honestly, like, I don't even. The car was sitting unlocked in my driveway. It didn't even occur to me that something like that was going to happen.
It was unlocked?
Yeah.
So once it's started, they can drive it anywhere they want, but once they turn it off, they can't
They get one chance to restart it.
Okay.
But they didn't make it very far, as it turns out.
Yeah, I want to know what the recovery situation was.
So, I chased him down the end of the driveway, and then, I mean, have you ever seen the movie The Goonies?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I was standing at the bottom of the driveway, and the words that went through my head were, "I am Chunkk." Because it felt like, watching the Fratellis. They just stole my car. Like, oh wow, a police chase. I was like, so I realized at that moment that I had my phone in my pocket, which is the key to my Tesla. So I ran up to the Tesla, which was already facing the correct direction, and hauled ass after him.
Oh, you did?
And my plan was not to,
Engage.
not to,
Just bump them a little so they spin out.
Pit maneuver them.
Chunkk was not going to go to hand-to-hand combat, but I figured if I had him in sight, there's no freaking way they could get to me, because the Tesla's, the performance model. Good luck catching that freaking thing with an Escalade. I'll just back up in the middle of the road at 2:00 in the morning. There's nobody out there.
Mm-hmm.
But they may, in hindsight, there's a 4-way stop at the end of my street, and there's just a little turn before it, and I'm 99.9% sure that they made a right-hand turn right there and kind of did a Wile E. Coyote cutback, because I ended up at the high school at the exit of my neighborhood, and they were nowhere to be found. So I rolled up on this Frisco cop that was sitting up there. Kind of startled him a little bit, because I guess I came in pretty hot.
Oh, yeah, I bet you did.
And, I'm like, hey, my car was just stolen out of my driveway about 90 seconds ago. And then they went, bananas. They called everybody,
They got
Wow.
nothing else to do.
I guess.
Yeah, all the Frisco police were going nuts trying to find it. And, there's an LPR, a license plate reading camera system on every single intersection in Frisco. So had they gone, once they got that license plate number from me, if that thing had gone through any intersections, they would have known where it was. So they were like, we can't believe we haven't found it yet. This makes no sense, But as it turns out, those guys knew that, how does that go? You know that I knew that you knew, kind of thing. And they ditched it about a quarter mile away from the house, and just parked it in a neighborhood, and then broke into another car and stole it.
Yeah, that once they saw you, they knew things were going to happen quick. So.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize it at the time, but there was an air tag in the car. I just didn't know it. And the guys, they called me the next day going, hey, do you have any idea of where it is or anything? And I'm like, well, I have an air tag that's 3.5 miles south of my house, and I didn't take it there. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So I went down there. It was a different city, but the two cities talked or whatever, and they sent out a fire truck, and we got to play full Ninja Turtle and go down into the manhole cover and pull the air tag out, because these guys, they had taken it down into a like a railroad underpass and dumped the air tag that was in it in a storm drain.
They found the air tag.
I found the air tag. I went down there and figured out which storm drain it was in, and then
No, what I
called
mean is
them.
they found it because it was beeping, probably.
Oh yeah. They found it. Yeah. It didn't have the speaker. It disconnected. Its purpose was not to be a vehicle tracker. It just happened to be in there.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was, at least it gave us something to do. It was like, well, maybe we can go find. Maybe there's something interesting there, but there wasn't. But there were multiple air tags in that sewer.
Oh.
So that apparently is the hot spot to drop off hot air tags.
So when you got it back, it was okay?
No
Yeah,
problem.
I mean, they stole it at I want to say 2:14 a.m. and I have video of it being dropped off at 2:38 a.m. where it got parked and dumped. So they didn't have it for but just a couple of minutes.
Oh, wow.
Of course, I didn't know that at the time, but
Yeah.
So you just brought your key down there and picked up the car and drove it home, and that was that.
yeah, a couple of jokes with the detective. He was giving me crap because my registration sticker was expired, but then they found the registration sticker that hadn't been put on that doesn't expire for a few months. So
Oh my gosh.
he was laughing. He said, the regular cops wanted to write me a ticket for not having the right sticker on there.
Of course, they're gonna find a victim, right?
Yeah.
I was like, gee, thanks, guys. But yeah, there was some pretty good laughs out of it all. In the end of the day, the only thing that really happened is they stole my car for 20 minutes. Didn't seem to hurt it at all. Dumped my daughter's bags out, which isn't really that different from what she does with her own stuff anyway.
Uh-huh.
And
Basically a valet parking situation.
Yeah.
yeah, remote parking service. My driveway was a little too full, so.
That's wild.
All right, boys. Well, I think that's a good, solid 30 minutes of blabber. So let's keep it up, right? Let's get some progress going on these builds. Let's win some races, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
Thank you for listening to So You Think Your Car is Fast podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.